So, adventures in video development. I've been developing video applications for video-based applications, maybe longer than many people that are around here, just because I come from consulting and I've built a lot of interesting stuff over the years. And most of it was based on FreeSwitch, actually. So what SignalWire is doing is only the continuation. And I want to show you, first of all, we'll do a quick introduction of WebRTC, mostly because we need to know that to appreciate how the applications work and how the technical choices that have been made have been made. I am, well, first of all, something about me. I'm currently lead solutions architect at SignalWire. I'm based out of Milan. I have about 15 years and change of experience. And I started, and I said this yesterday during the open source panel, my entire journey started when I was a consultant. I was building web application and government database applications at the time, just out of university, and I was tasked with finding a way to call translators that will be used by hospitals and the police, so that when someone shows up at the hospital, they know what language they're speaking. They have a number to call. When there's a person that sort of knows all languages, I don't know how it works, they probably know how to recognize them, which will in turn patch in the appropriate translator. So if someone shows up from Pakistan, they just speak Urdu, you need to find someone who actually knows that language so they can help them. And I started from there. I made a few patches to this Ruby telephony framework called Addition to support FreeSwitch, because at the time it only supported asterisk. And through a rough and tortuous way, now I'm here. So that's the beauty of open source, right? So what can you do with video? People tend to think of video as Zoom, great application. I don't like it, but whatever, to each his own. But still, it's seen a lot of usage during the lockdown. But there's also a lot of other things you can do with video. Surveillance, but the good kind and the bad kind. Broadcasting, mostly good, the good kind, but there's some bad broadcasting too. Specialized applications of which video is not only a communication component, but it solves other problems too, which is quite interesting, and we're going to look at in a minute. And since Christian was going to speak about the blockchain, we're going to tie into that too, just a little. And of course, mobile experiences of various kinds, which are, I would say, relatively new, because the mobile experience, as I can think about it, short videos, short interactive experience, think TikTok, think all the various aspects that have not been explored until recent years, mostly because devices weren't powerful enough, network wasn't powerful enough, and it will have so just 5 or 6 years ago, TikTok will not have been possible, because all those, every single video you're seeing when you scroll is like a few tens of megabytes. So if you can see it, if you can watch all videos without having to wait for a load time, it's great. If you had to wait for 5 seconds every video, nobody will use TikTok, because the whole point of TikTok is just scroll, pop, pop, pop. And that's something that we've been able to build only recently. What's important, though, is my work as a solutions architect and analyst. I like to read a lot of reports. I read almost too many reports and books. But this really struck me. Gartner research on the video market as this important data point. By 2024, I don't know how they tell the date, but by 2024, over 30% of remote meetings are not going to be held on a specialized video conference system. That is, you're on Zoom, you're on Google Meet, and you're also using something else, but they will integrate it in products or offer advanced capabilities. So video is starting to not be its own thing. It's starting to be a tool to achieve other goals, which is what we've been working on as a team and as a product team, and I've been doing for a long time. So just some video conferencing basics, because I wanted to set the stage in case someone didn't really, I mean, everybody's here is an expert, but all various levels of knowledge. So to get video to work, we usually use WebRTC, so SIP is also supported. What WebRTC is, it's not a protocol. It's a set of standards and tools, including codecs, that allows you to build web-based video applications. There's many servers. I listed FreeSwitch first. 1, because I use FreeSwitch the most, and 2, because it's different from the others in one key aspect, which we'll see in a minute. Others are, I've used Janus, I've used MediaSoup, I've used Pion. Dan did a great job of listing more of them. So there are very many open source projects you can use and leverage to build your own video solution these days. And of course, the aspect of broadcasting. So this is something that we're going to touch on again, but let's keep this as a data point, as a starting point. In many occasions, when you're starting to scale out video apps and you're building non-standard video apps, let's picture video apps are non-standard video apps as I have to meet with a client and there's also a sales rep on my call. So it's me, the sales rep, and the client. We're in a video room, we talk about whatever's going on, they sign the commit contract, everybody gets richer, we're happy. But that's the standard usage. Many scenarios require asymmetric viewership, meaning that there are 2, 3, 4 active speakers, and there are maybe hundreds of audience participants that are just watching. But they might want to interact, so it's not just enough to just broadcast. So RTMP and HLS are great pure broadcasting tools. I just want to get people to watch what I'm saying. I don't care if they hear it a minute after. WebRTC instead allows you to do synchronous broadcasting. Everybody gets the same event at the same time, network conditions notwithstanding. Okay, if you have 2 seconds ping from your provider, it's your problem. It's usually going to be very synchronous. And we're going to get to that in a minute. So when you're building a web application, always remember that signaling and media are different paths, meaning that the way devices agree how to talk to each other and the actual media that's being sent is a different path, and especially that signaling is not standardized in the WebRTC standard, meaning that every device has to support the same codecs, H.264, VP8, Opus, and a couple others are mandated by standard, but how they agree to talk to each other can be different and it can be adjusted by virtue of what you need. Again, this is going to be important in a minute. No, I'm just setting the stage, right? And MCU versus SFU very often can dictate how you design your application. So first of all, let's start from the main important distinction. It was touched on by someone this morning, probably Evan, but I'll repeat it because he stole my slides. And so what an SFU does is every participant in a room built around an SFU receives one video stream from each of the other participants, meaning that if there are 4 people in a room with me, so there's 5 total, I will be sending out one video feed and receiving 4 others. Every time we add one person to this room, it increases arithmetically. So one person adds 6 feeds because now I'm receiving 5 and I'm sending 1, but everybody is also receiving 5. So there's more feeds every time we add a person. This has advantages and disadvantages. SFUs are very light on the server side. They usually do next to nothing because they're just passing frames around. And they're easy to integrate in an application where you only need to speak with a few people because the number of feeds doesn't really matter. As soon as you start scaling up and you get into those hybrid speaker and audience situations, an MCU is preferable. I would say in my opinion, but that's almost fact at this point. The idea is that an MCU receives every video feed and sends back one single feed with every speaker in one video, meaning that the multiplexing happens on the server. That makes it predictable because everybody is getting one video feed, so by virtue of knowing which bandwidth you're setting, you effectively know how much bandwidth will be needed to run your app. In any case, there are no unknowns, and there are some interesting implications with the mixing happening on the server, which are going to be useful in a minute. Of course, running the old way required, FreeSwitch and Docker, and maybe using mod.xml curl, and using ESL for controlling the server. You need some kind of clustering, you need some kind of setup, and usually expensive. Running a video on FreeSwitch is not great from an expense standpoint. An $80 DigitalOcean server runs about 50 people if you're doing things right. Although, on Friday will be a nice training session where we'll go through exactly all of this setup, so I can help you start getting started with video, amongst other things. So reach out to the reception if you're interested. What else? Well, enter the SignalWire Video SDK, obligatory plug. I work for SignalWire, so you get some advertisement now. Sorry. Jokes aside, I think it's a great product. We try to make everything that made FreeSwitch great as a video solution building platform into a cloud version. So it provides a complete video development platform as a pay-as-you-go solution. meaning that it has the ability to create video rooms. You can do recording, you can do broadcasting, you can do seeking and rewinding videos. You can call into a video room with SIP, which is very important and also quite useful. And there's a bunch of other features that are super useful. Of course, there's a lot of advanced access configuration within the platform, which is also very important and will come in handy, because what we're going to do next is, first of all, I'm going to show you how easy it is to use. It's literally 5 lines of code, and the last 3 lines are actually not useful because you can not use those. That JavaScript block gets you a video conference in your page. Nothing else needed. Just need to generate the token, which is you can get from the dashboard. So we try to make it as easy as possible, but it's predicated on our knowledge of how to build complex applications, which I want to lead you through now. Sorry, the plane air conditioning is terrible. Every time I fly, it takes me like 5 days to recover. What you're going to do is I'm going to walk you through a few interesting apps customers have built, with some help on my end in most cases, around the video platform that are not just the classic meeting rooms, but they use the I sometimes call them side effects of video to be able to operate. Boom. So first one, so we're going to start from digital signatures. We're going into a webinar platform, and now we're going into a celebrity meeting product that's an upcoming product that's a AAA product, like you see launches and advertisements and stuff. That's going to be, I'm sort of giving you an anticipation. So the first 2 case studies, I can go a little bit in depth and even give you names. On the third product, I will have to stay as vague as possible, but I showed you the technology, which is still a good starting point. So first of all, first case study is this platform called Agree.live, built by some good friends in Italy, which have been helping for a while. And their idea is to integrate video conferencing with the document viewer and electronic signatures, so that you can meet in the room. At the same time, you can look at documents together with your guest and the people who have to sign them, and with specialized document viewer, etc. I have a good video. Well, we can just take a look, and then I'll come back and explain. So as you can see, there's video on the side. Document is in the middle. That's a specialized document viewer that allows you to, you can sign the document. So what they do is they use this as a closing tool. For example, in real estate markets, especially when there's multiple people involved. For example, what they do is they very often use this for real estate closings when there are multiple owners of the same building. So maybe you have like 5 people who need to participate into a meeting, agree on the minutes that says, I'm going to sell my percentage for this, my percentage for that, and then sign. Everybody needs to sign a document that effectively states that they agreed to the same terms together. So this is a very interesting use case. This, guys, that's a simple application. What they do is the MCU, if you remember, feeds the video into one big grid, right? So I have video of everybody that was in the room at the same time in one video feed. I have logs that state they were there, and I can identify them using video. So one of the participants has the ability to click a button that says, yes, I recognize this as Luca. This has legal binding consequences in Europe. What happens, though, is that the MCU, so the fact that there's one video frame where everybody in the meeting appears, is actually providing security. So at the minimum, I know that, say, I see my good friend Brian down there, so I'll use him as an example, and Ryan too. So me, Brian, and Ryan are purchasing a house together to turn into a private club and start a golf club. And at a minimum, we will be able to say that us 3 were in a room at that time for that amount of time. We signed the document using electronically binding digital signature. That happened at the same time, too. So even if one of us wanted to say, I wasn't there, I didn't sign, I didn't hear the terms, it's hard to really prove, right? So video is providing an integral aspect of security in this application. And the little tiny into blockchain that, well, since I'm replacing a blockchain talk, the little tie-in is that everything then gets stored as a package, and the package gets hashed, and that hash gets put on the Bitcoin blockchain, effectively proving that the document existed at that point in time. This, again, shows how video can not only be a tool for talking to each other, so it's truly important. They use it for sales. So when they sell insurance through this tool, So you talk to the person, they agree on the policy, you upload the document, they sign. But we're also using video to do something that is not just talk to each other, which is super important, but it's not the only thing. What else? How do I go to the next? Okay, so online webinars. This is also interesting, and this also has side effects of video. This company provides what's called continuous professional education in the US, meaning that lawyers, accountants, and many other categories need to attend a set amount of hours of courses to be able to, I don't know, keep their license, get an extra license, charge $100 more an hour because they are specialized in something, whatever. I don't fully understand the law implications, but I know how it works very well because I built it. It's usually 1, maximum 2 speakers, and they have from 10 to 300 people in attendance. Usually, the attendance is not really participating, they're just looking. But what they do, first of all, is they use the SignalWire backend logs to make sure that, so they give me a token, I'm an attendant, they give me a token, but they also save the token in the database so they know who joined, and they keep track of who joins and who leaves. That way, I cannot just join the video presentation at the beginning and then just go do something else, and eventually I'll turn my computer off, because they will tell, so they know if I'm connected or not. So they use video for presence, not just for broadcasting. And of course, they do recording. They have promotion capabilities. The SignalWire SDK has a seamless way to promote an audience member, so a view-only member, very lightweight, no device dialog for WebRTC, so it won't ask you for devices unless you get promoted to an active participant. And so they can have a button that says, hey, let Luca ask a question, like you do in a conference. Of course, they do recording and playback, and this is super important because this is another neat trick they do. So these courses are usually broadcast live, so you have to show up at 10 a.m., and it's going to be 4 hours, and this person is going to explain you all about taxes in Texas or whatever. That's more or less what they do. But they also record these events, including everything that happens, so slides get advanced. They have a UI that uses a separate viewer, so there's a video frame there, but the slides area is HTML. And the speaker advances slides, just as I'm doing now, and the events get recorded in a database, and then they play it back in real time during playback of the video. Meaning that when the recorded speaker says, so now look at slide 4 is on the screen. This looks deceptively easy, but it's actually quite complex. Why? Because this has to be done through WebRTC, not through HLS or ATMP. Because RTMP and HLS have variable caching, meaning that you can go as low latency as you want, but not everybody in the audience is going to get the same sentence at the same time. This platform also has a quiz that the presenter can bring up. So think about this. It's a recorded broadcast. When I say, as a presenter, hey, please answer the quiz that's on screen, the quiz has to be there. Not before and not after. Otherwise, it's weird. Like, if you got a quiz and I didn't mention it, you look at me funny, like if it happened right now. Or if I said, please answer this quiz, and there's no quiz, nowhere to be seen. It just doesn't work. That's why WebRTC is a great broadcasting tool for very low latency situations where you have to be sure that your audience is all seeing and hearing the video at the same time, because it has real-time implications. What this company does is use the backend logs to make sure I was connected for the entire time, that I answered the correct quizzes, and they generate certificates based on attendance. Again, video is not only used to present, later just give the 4-hour lesson, which is usually very boring from what I'm told, because it's more or less stuff those people already know, but they need to prove they know, so that's a course or something. But also used to certify they have joined the video conference for enough amount of time. So you have to, I don't know, it's a 4-hour, you need to attend at least 3 hours out of 4 to get the certificate, otherwise you don't. And this is a very interesting use case. It also uses side effects again. So your certification depends on how the video platform performs. So last case study is a celebrity meeting app, which is triple-A app that's upcoming and probably in the following months, I think. I really have to be careful about what I can say, but I think I can go here. So the idea is that you'll be able to meet your favorite celebrity for a few minutes in a broadcasted event, so that there's, think Telegram, but it's live, and you can join, I don't know, Steph Curry to ask him a question about basketball. The trick here is that, well, 50 to 1,000 people in the audience is the prototype. Of course, it will have far more viewership. But the trick here is that the SignalWire SDK allows this company to build a production room, like the AV desk we have at the bottom of the hall, meaning that there is someone handling the production on the event. Because honestly, you can't just not leave anyone join a conference with a celebrity and ask them questions because, oh God, who knows what's going to happen. Like most of it is just going to be terrible. So what they do is they record the feed. The feed goes to the production room, which also has the ability to kick people, promote people, put them in the video, remove them, adjust the layout. But more importantly, only the production room people are actually seeing that video. It's going out live in a 30-second delay. All done through using two SignalWire rooms, essentially. One is 30 seconds behind the other. So let's say the director of the event has time to, worst case, go to black, right? If this person just takes off their clothes and starts yelling obscenities, just take it down and whatever. This actually is mandated by law since Whitney Houston took her blouse off to the Super Bowl, something like that. So this is actually something that is real. It's super weird. So this is more about not the advanced capabilities of video itself, but it's about how we can build complicated interactive applications through a few simple tools. This is really just recording a video and then broadcasting it again 30 seconds after. It's something you can do, of course, on SignalWire, but you can frankly do it on FreeSwitch or many other platforms. The idea here is that what we use is advanced security. We have time-limited tokens, which is a SignalWire feature, meaning that you can allow someone to only join for a certain duration. All of this is done to limit the possibility that something goes bad. Of course, there's people that want to join and ask a question to whatever celebrity get vetted first. So there is another room where you join, and one of the producers for the event will ask you questions. They will ask you which question you want to ask. You probably have to sign something saying you're not crazy. That has never stopped anyone, but usually works well. I mean, when I used to fly to the US, there was a questionnaire that, among other questions, was asking me if I was a terrorist and if I was about to perform a criminal act on the US soil. I don't know who says yes, but I mean, if you say yes, you deserve whatever's waiting for you at the airport when you land, right? It's so yeah, they're going to ask you if you're crazy, and you're obviously going to not say no, but still. So this is more about building. So this is just an example of the layout we're using. It was one of the demo images because I couldn't really show any from that stuff. I'm literally prohibited from. But the idea, though, is here we're building something that's very complex. So there's multiple views. This is another thing that doesn't happen very often in video application. There are multiple views on the same event. So there is people who have their phone in their hands, and they're just seeing the celebrity in a big box and the little person that's asking the question, bottom right corner or whatever. There is a production room who's seeing a completely different picture. They're seeing the celebrity picture, the large, to be able to check for quality and others. They have a line of people who are alone in a room waiting to be sent to the main room to talk to the celebrity, who have been in turn already gone through another room where some people ask them the questions I mentioned earlier. All of this results in a seamless experience on the mobile device, because frankly what we want to do is users need to want to use it, we need millions, billions of people to listen to whoever is asking questions, to Steph Curry or whatever. Same time, this is how you build a complex application without complexity. Like, just break it up in different pieces. Production is one thing. Even the webinar app we saw earlier actually has two views, for example. There's a presenter view, which has more buttons, and you have the ability to kick people and stuff, and the participant view, which has less buttons. But that does not directly affect video. It's just that the presenter is the one who's speaking, and the others are listening. In this case, we have mobile app, seamless, super cool. Production room, very complicated. Screening room, simple because people have to be able to use it. All of it is done seamless. And in reality, everybody's seeing the same video. It's only handled differently. So it's a very interesting way to build apps. Again, all of these are built on SignalWire, but this being Glucon, there's other way. You could do it with FreeSwitch yourself without any. I mean, I've done it. Two out of these three were originally built in FreeSwitch and then migrated to SignalWire, for example. Cool. So, want to get started? Obligatory get started slide. I have a link to the video first steps guide, and developer.signalwire.com has all the video and other API information. Hit me up. Ask John. Ask anybody from SA or customer success. We're super happy to help you. And that's pretty much it. So I hope this was interesting. It was some kind of last-minute thing, but I think case studies are always interesting because regardless of the technology used, if you're doing interesting stuff, it can spur more innovation. Because maybe I give you a few ideas, and now you're going to go out and build something. And in case you become a billionaire, remember me and send me a bottle of wine. Thank you so much. My email address is luca@signalwire.com. Anything you need, drop me a line. I'll find you someone who can help you. And thank you so much. And, well, I stay here because I have to present. Thank you. Give a big round of applause for the speaker.